Hi, Catch-Up Crew. Yeah, your hair's so good. I love it. It suits you so much.
Oh, I feel so like I knew I wasn't quite happy with the long hair. But I didn't quite realize just how much it like would make me feel better to have a haircut that I felt like is me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is very fair.
Is it super hot with you as well? Weather-wise?
It's not hot here.
I thought maybe that inspired it to get rid of all the heat.
Oh, I should have done it during the heat wave, yeah, when it was like plus 38.
Wow.
Yeah, it's only like 25 today. So.
That's like reasonable warm. Like top end of reasonable warm, but reasonable warm.
I am comfortable.
Yeah.
But...
Have you been watching any of the Olympics today?
No.
No.
Not at all. Have you?
I saw about the badminton earlier. That was quite fun. Yeah, we had Team GB. We're playing the world leaders Japan, and we got beaten, but that's okay. They're the world leaders. That's fine. But the other story I read about was this 12-year-old, like the youngest competitor, like playing table tennis, and they're just phenomenal. It's like, super impressive. I think they've been knocked out already, but it was impressive watching. Yeah.
Still, 12-year-olds in the Olympics. Like, what are you? Yeah.
That's a pretty cool achievement.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd done anything that cool by 12.
I definitely hadn't.
I think my greatest achievement by 12 was being brave enough to play a Green Day song for the school talent show.
Nice. That's good.
I'm like, yeah, top achievement by 12. Keeping the bar real average.
I think I'd won the best dressed teddy bear competition when I was 12.
Oh, that's like the most Michael Cox award ever. I could totally
actually, I tell a slight lie. It was actually the most loved teddy award. Because my teddy had the most patches where it had been cuddled too much.
Yeah, they're the same thing if that's why you win. Best dressed, most loved.
Yeah.
How are you, Lyric? What have you been up to?
I have been having a pretty chill morning. I did a tiny bit of yoga and I meditated outside before it got really warm.
Yeah.
What else have I done today? I've read some poetry, watched some of the L Word Generation Q because it's like my favorite kind of trash TV, but there's no straight characters really other than the main character's parents who come to visit occasionally. But like watching a show where everyone is queer is just like, it's really fucking nice.
Oh, is that you, Andy? Was that you beeping? Oh.
Hello.
Hello. All right.
Somebody just rang the buzzer, but we're not expecting anyone. So let me just stick my head out the window. Just a sec.
Okay,
It's been a nice, relaxing morning. It's been good to not do much. I was doing a lot of the productive thing this week, and I'm glad to not be productive.
Nope. They're trying to get into somebody else's flat.
I've had that. Oh man. So my building, the buzzer numbers that are written on the thing outside are wholly inaccurate. And like, I don't know how to change it. I've mentioned it to my landlord a couple times, but like, I live in 303. And the buzzer written down outside for number 204 is my buzzer number. So people always, and they think that like they get packages, and then people are like, "Oh, no, I'm sorry, not letting you in the building. I don't know who you are, but."
Hey, but I think the weirdest part of that is that the apartment number that has the right buzz code is the area code for Winnipeg.
If we were in a novel,
so if
this
somebody is buzzing
sort of...
204, they're actually buzzing you.
Yes. My apartment number isn't even written on the list outside, which I mean is fine. I just tell people, but like,
Well, the sum of its digits is the same.
That's true. That's true. I very
But
much.
that doesn't make it any more correct, though.
No. I don't. Some of them have just names and then the buzzer number and then, but like some of them are part. I don't know. Oh,
Also, your hair looks so cool, Ashra.
thank you. I feel pretty awesome.
I feel like you look more like yourself.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's so little hair. Great. Yeah. So just gonna grow this top bit out and pull it up with the buns.
Alex's hair is finally long enough to tie in a bun, and he's been doing it all the time, and I'm really enjoying this man bun phase. It's really nice.
Yes, that's what I told my hairdresser. I'm just like, I want like a man bun.
Nice.
Okay, that's a reason to grow that bit out, like a tiny bit more. I could almost get like a tiny one on the top of my head, like my nephew does sometimes.
But both you and I at this stage would look like a little kid with like the sort of palm tree thing in the middle of the head.
Not gonna lie, I'm here for that.
It's a good look, I think. Okay, so my nephew hasn't gotten a haircut like all of the pandemic because there's this Jewish superstition that it's good luck to not let your son get his haircut until his second birthday. I have no idea why. I hadn't actually heard of this before my sister told me. But because of that, my nephew thinks that you only get your haircut on your birthday.
Oh.
So she tried to trick him into getting a haircut because he was like, oh, well, it's Cassidy, my niece's birthday coming up. Like, it's her birthday, which means that she needs to get a haircut. Is Cassie going to get a haircut? So naturally, my sister was like, yes, this is perfect. I'll book chairs for both of them. And he didn't want to get his haircut. He was like, it's not my birthday. I can't get a haircut.
Oh.
What a cutie.
Yeah, that kid, like, he hangs on to rules and reasoning very well. He's going to be one of those kids who just takes a bit and then suddenly he'll have memorized an entire unit in school, I think.
Nice.
I love watching how kids learn and hearing about it. I find it so interesting.
So how come the parents haven't told them yet that it's nothing to do with birthdays?
Because then she'd have to admit that she lied to her kid, because I think that's probably why he believes that.
Oh.
And why he thought that he couldn't get it until his second birthday, but I'm not sure. That's the only logical reason I can think of why she wouldn't have told him yet, but you know.
This is why you shouldn't lie to, well, I mean, you shouldn't lie to your kids, really. Yeah. But they will pick up on things and hold on to them.
And if you tell your kid it's super good luck, then naturally your kid's probably just going to want to do it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Which, like, is a not harmful lie, in my opinion. It doesn't give them, like, the kind of misinformation that leads to not getting haircuts. It's just like, oh, okay, I want to be lucky. That sounds good. I'll wait until then because it's lucky, which is pretty much why she did it, it sounds like to me. So anyways, yeah, I'm also very radical honesty with everything, though, more so than a lot of people are. So, I know we don't have a theme today because everything was last minute and I'm tired. So I was thinking we could just do the thing that we usually do of finding one that seems like it could go next, or being like, oh, I'm excited for this one and it could maybe work, or no one's saying anything. Can I just read this? And just have a mishmash of us reading each other poems that we like. Oh, we lost an Andy. It's probably their internet.
Oh no.
Okay. Do you want to wait till Andy rejoins and then we'll get started?
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah.
So I know Katie was on the way back from Yorkshire today, so she's feeling a bit tired.
Yeah.
So hi, Katie.
Yeah, hi, Katie. I hope you're able to catch up. There you are. Hi, Andy.
Hey.
So yeah, does anyone have something they are jazzed about reading first?
Oh, I do.
Yay!
Yeah. I was kind of sorry to miss Death. I'm not going to start off with the Death poem, but it is from the book with the Death poems, because I have like 2 on a Book of the Dead. But so I want to start off with a nice nicer note. So we'll go with a song of praise for Cinderella. One spring I happened to read a high meadow laid out in stanzas of wild flowers. Their many names, a poem written in the gold-burned grass. Lupine, foxglove, columbine, the tawny, soft footprints of lime. This page of blossoms laughed in wind. 1,000 bees about their business bumbled in tumbling light. Sun that morning snuck from pine boughs, yellow as pollen, rose like chimney smoke from the naked beams of ghost cabins, abandoned to morning glories, weathered gray from decades of snow. Crows walked the light-struck train tracks, vivid as twin rivers of dimes. But sunlight is what I'm trying to explain, how it whispered, how its glow was sweet as combs within the hive, how it fell across bellies of streams, backstroking downhill to somnolent plains. Brightness that shook out the weave of the wind, light that tumbled in coinage of green, down trembling wild apples that beat with the heart-shaped cottonwood leaves, split open like pillows to spill day feathers over blue jays, magpies, haunches of restless bull elks. It's the sunlight, so rich you could lift it in a tin cup, fill it with sky, take a swallow of glowing and sting. And the squirrels were shouting Hosanna, and the eagles were shouting Hosanna, and the lioness blessing the field with her shadow paused bare, sniffed and raised a paw as she silently sang her Hosanna. Peaks clutched their capes of May snow, lakes opened eyelashes of pine, moon faded pale as a snail shell. The pages of morning were turning, you see, and the point of all of this, the point of this poem, that light of the Rockies, heron blue, silver as ice, green as hillside of sweet grass, mountain grape and holly that arose with a sigh, was only one half of the day I find in your aspen grove eyes.
Ah, that is gorgeous. I love all of the color words and the nature words in there. It's just lush.
Oh, yeah. It's just, let's make this as decadent as we can.
Does anyone have one they think could go next?
I don't know. That poem was kind of glorious, and I have one that's a bit silly, maybe.
The other ones,
I think I lost the other one. Oh, I have a sort of love poem-ish.
Yeah.
Do you want me to read it now?
Yeah, do it. Do it.
Later? Okay.
Up to you. I mean, we can go in and out of love poems. I feel like that's just probably going to be a thing.
Cool. I have a few by Maya Angelou because I have an entire book of all her work.
Yeah.
And this one is Here's to Adhering. I went to a party out in Hollywood. The atmosphere was shoddy, but the drinks were good. And that's where I heard you laugh. I then went cruising on an old Greek ship. The crew was amusing, but the guests weren't hip. That's where I found your hands. Onto the Sahara in a caravan. The sun struck like an arrow, but the nights were grand, and that's how I found your chest. An evening in the Congo where the Congo ends, I found myself alone. Oh, but I made some friends. That's where I saw your face. I have been devoting all my time to get parts of you out floating, still unglued as yet. Won't you pull yourself together for me once?
Yeah.
Plot twist.
I like it.
I would do one more kind of love poem and then we can shift or keep rolling with that, however people are feeling.
I think on these connection ones, we do dip in and out of love poems. So go for it. Do it up.
Cool. This is Home by Anastasia DeFonso. My hardest parts under your globe become soft. I'm digging my hands into the newly aching, like a child discovering sand, each grain a remnant of what was once whole, shaved now into bits that don't fit. Though there's air between us, we can barely find it. Shh. Though there's air between us, we can barely find it. But we dig until we're both further and closer. I've never met an end I can't see, and though I know how solids work, I find you break the rules, you fluid and endless pillar. Does anyone have another one for next? I know it takes longer when we think, like, oh yeah, what do I think?
I have one that's antagonistic to love. It's called For Loneliness.
Yeah.
Mm.
Go for it. That sounds fun.
Written by John O'Donoghue. When the light lessens, causing colors to lose their courage, and your eyes fix on the empty distance that can open on either side of the surest line to make all that is familiar and near seem suddenly foreign. When the music of talk breaks apart into noise, and you hear your heart louden, while the voices around you slow down to leaden echoes, turning silence into something stony and cold. When the old ghosts come back to feed on everywhere you felt sure, do not strengthen their hunger by choosing fear. Rather decide to call on your heart, that it may grow clear and free, to welcome home your emptiness, that it may cleanse you like the clearest air you could ever breathe. Allow your loneliness time to dissolve the shell of dross that had closed around you. Choose in this severe silence to hear that one true voice your rushed life fears. Cradle yourself like a child, learning to trust what emerges so that gradually you may come to know that deep in that black hole you will find the blue flower that holds the mystical light which will illuminate in you the glimmer of springtime. too.
I like that one.
It's in there.
I have one that could be a bit of a pivot from there and just like thinking about young and also spending time on your own in some ways.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. This is for the young who want to by Marge Piercy. Talent is what they say you have after the novel is published and favorably reviewed. Beforehand, what you have is a tedious delusion, a hobby like knitting. Work is what you have done after the play is produced and the audience claps. Before that, friends keep asking when you are planning to go out and get a job. Genius is what they know you had after the third volume of remarkable poems. Earlier, they accuse you of withdrawing, ask why you don't have a baby, call you a bum. The reason people want MFAs, take workshops with fancy names, when all you can really learn is a few techniques, typing instructions, and somebody else's mannerisms, is that every artist lacks a license to hang on the wall. Like your optician, your vet, proving you may be a clumsy sadist whose fillings fall into the stew, but you're a certified dentist. The real writer is one who really writes. Talent is an invention like phlogiston after the fact of fire. Work is its own cure. You have to like it better than being loved.
Ooh. That last one. Oh yeah.
Marge fucking Piercy, am I right?
Oh, yeah.
Tells it as she is. When people ask you why don't you get a job, it's like, "Arr!"
Well,
Yep.
please let me have a poem for you.
Yeah.
I love that there's just no bullshit there.
Yeah.
Yep.
None.
Yeah.
Mm.
Ooh. Ooh.
There's something about babies in that one.
Yeah. Do you have one?
Yes. It's called
Yeah.
Crow Baby by Luke
Mm.
Kennard. Okay. Everything plant delicate. I'm scared to force your arms through your sleeves. It's like trying to put a little t-shirt on a baby crow. That's what it feels like. It feels like I've captured a crow, and for some reason I'm trying to show that crow unconditional love. Only it keeps pecking me, flapping its wings and flying around the room into walls, completely terrified. And I'm like, come on, crow, don't worry, I'm your father, I love you. Come and perch on my shoulder. And the crow just flies around the ceiling like a fan stuck on double speed. Caw, caw, caw! Stopping only when it reaches total exhaustion. And then I'm like, I love you. I love you, crow. I put the crow to my neck and I sit on a metallic grey exercise ball, the volume right down, and subtitles because love is so boring. I hum everything my dad used to play on the piano, stuff I didn't know I remembered. Crow, I whisper, bouncing ludicrously on the ball. I whisper what I will whisper 5 years later, crouched by a drunk man weeping on the Hungerford Bridge. It's going to get better. It's going to get better, and everything is going to be okay.
Oh,
Oh.
good. Is that Nikita
That's
Gill?
so adorable.
It's very much her style, isn't it? Or their style. But no, this is Luke Kennard.
What
Oh,
book is
right.
that
You said
from?
I just saw the book cover and was like, is that?
No, there's a lot of Nikita in here, definitely. Yeah,
Oh, it's so good.
yeah. Little crow baby.
Mm.
Oh.
You know what we have to read after anything that ends with everything is going to be okay, though, right? Who wants to do the honors? I have a million poems to read, so like if somebody else wants to read it, please feel free to.
Wait, it's here, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's in that one.
Somewhere. Oh, there it is. Aha. Found it. How should I not be glad to contemplate the clouds clearing beyond the dormer window and a high tide reflected on the ceiling? There will be dying. There will be dying, but there is no need to go into that. The poems flow from the hand unbidden, and the hidden source is the watchful heart. The sun rises in spite of everything, and the far cities are beautiful and bright. I lie here in a riot of sunlight, watching the day break and the clouds flying. Everything is going to be all right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
One of my favorites. And also, Ashra, if you
I
did
had a
have a
book
death
by-
poem, there's a good segue there. Sorry, what were you going to say, Andy?
Yeah. I had a poem related to acting that also would have worked after your poem, but it's not working now anymore. So we'll see if it can pop in later.
I bet there'll be a chance.
Are you guys up? There's a longer one in here which somewhat fits, but somewhat doesn't. But are you guys up for a longer poem?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me just had it.
Oh, I actually have one
Yeah,
that does work really well after that. That's shorter.
Oh, okay, go for it.
It's the one I texted you about this morning that I heard and was like, I feel like that should be read in Ash's voice, but also now I'm reading it, so
We can all read it.
I'll read it. It is a death poem, but it's really beautiful. It's really nice. This is From Blossoms by Lee Younglee. From blossoms come this brown paper bag of peaches we bought from the boy at the bend in the road where we turned toward the sign painted peaches. From laden boughs, from hands, from sweet fellowship in the bins, comes nectar at the roadside, succulent. Peaches we devour, dusty skin and all, comes the familiar dust of summer, dust we eat. Oh, take what we love inside, to carry within us an orchard, to eat, not only the skin, but the shade, not only the sugar, but the days, to hold the fruit in our hands, adore it, then bite into the round jubilance of peach. There are days we live as if death were nowhere in the background, from joy to joy to joy, from wing to wing, from blossom to impossible blossom, to sweet, impossible blossom.
Thank you.
I heard that one this morning on Poetry Unbound because now I listened to it thanks to you and Ainsley mentioning it enough.
Yes, because everyone should listen to it because it's fucking lovely.
It's really, really lovely. I listened to it and went for a bit of a walk after meditating this morning. Anyways, go for it. Read us your long one.
So this is long. It is. There are some harsh bits, particularly around like gender roles and life as immigrants in the U.S. So little warning there. Codex Luna. My moon pulled a different darkness across the sky. My unknown sisters, tucked in the barbed embrace of the border fence, saw a different face in the moon. Theirs was a luna topicle, a rabbit moon, moon of running, fear, hiding. My bed was soft, their beds were stone. My moon was floating origami in a water cup, a Japanese artwork of rice paper and pearls, a light to dream of girlfriends. Their moon peeled a panicked eye, goggled blind as they ran. Headlights froze them, twin moonbeams ran them down. Tufts of their dreams tangled in thickets of border tumbleweeds. My sisters brought undocumented scents to sweeten the valleys. Their perfume settled on roadsides, misted over bloodstained rattlesnake, boot-print guard dog. Flashlights, illegal exhalations, unlawful breathing tainted with cinnamon, coffee, filling the cries like sugar in the bellies of honeysuckle, underarms sweat from running, belly sweat, back of neck, sweat small of the back, sweat, shoulder blades sweat, brow sweat, behind them hunger, before them night, thigh sweat, tang of terror under their skirts, smell of hope burning like mustard blossoms in caves, burning stink of running, death smells of squatting where they hoped no one could see them, fertilizer, and lemon. Black soap, fresh hair, flagged in the wire. Sun smell of underpants once hung in the wind. Heavy, hopeless breast milk smell. Smell of the Morelos garden and still in blouses. Burning stink of running. I did not need to run. I had a paper moon stamped and certified. Mine was a colonia moon, a barrio moon, a suburban moon. I knew where I was supposed to be, where I was allowed to go, and that was anywhere. We lived the outhouse moon, the tortilla moon, the Channel 12 bullfight Tijuana moon. And then we migrated north like monarchs, following the light. And my moon was a Boy Scout moon, a camp-out moon, a drive-in triple feature moon. My moon remained poor as a rusted coin in a frozen pond, but documented. The green men in the tan trucks could read my belonging by this moon's light, give us the all clear to walk, work, die on the ground our ancestors had forgotten, let us don bat patrol patches and Troop 260 uniforms and hike the ridgeline toward Mexico had taken Hitzopolicha as their arms and begun their 100-year walk to the south. My moon rose over tidy houses. She ran. She ran all her life. She ran to stay ahead of the charging darkness, galloping hunger. She ran west to El Puente, north towards winter and Mictlan, land of the dead, worked the light of the moon in her small hands, the color of earth. She molded moon glow into trinkets, traded coins for the color of the sun, wove moon into bracelets she traded for perfume, worked the ceremonial motel chambers, swept the floors of the moneyed, folded bloody sheets and knelt at toilets, scrubbing sins of the mighty from their seats. Everyone moved north. She was 13. Maheklitia Irfanie. I was 10. Maheklitia. Somehow, she came to rest in my house. Trucks could not track her for an hour. Dogs could not follow her scent. She was on that invisible railroad to Los Angeles, enemy city of the great walled city of Tihuanacan. I was in the invisible mountains of Coyacama. walking in the ghost footprints of vanished hunters, in their tribes wondering where their arrows went. And she slept in my bed, too tired to eat or join in the gathered laughter of my living room. She slept in my bed. She lay in my sheets, smelling the odor of thunderbirds and America, and her eyes pulled themselves closed to protect her. Dreams of home. I came in and found her. I came in and found her. Is there any other story, any other legend to tell? I came home and I found her, her head on my pillow, the first woman to ever sleep in my bed, her hair black across my pillow, spilling towards earth, reaching for the heart of Teanhuaca, the one world, her eyebrows shallow as streams, fringed in crests and licorice and Guayamala shallow. Her brown brow, unlined, one hand, fingers curled, nails pale, small shells against the Chichimeca shore of her skin. Her breath making small melodies of breezes and tides, and me holding my breath, the thrum and sigh, thrum and sigh, thrum and sigh of her sleep. Then they woke her. She didn't want to wake, she didn't want to rise, she didn't want to go. I didn't want them to wake her, I wanted to sleep beside her. I didn't know anything else that men wanted to happen in bed with a woman. I wanted to sleep beside her. I did not know the language of beds. I wanted to pass through the door of her color. I wanted to pray in her temple of hair. She knew more than I did about this new language and blushed when she saw me at worship. I blushed, discovered in my beholding. We touched hands. Hello. We touched hands. Adios. Then they tucked her in the back seat of a 1964 car and smuggled her, under blankets, through trucks up freeways laden with runners, north, where she'd bask in the light of 1,000 toilets, where her nails would break on their porcelain, where she'd sweep more sheets off more beds, where she could not afford to sleep, where helicopters searched her alleys with burning eyes all night, where she could speak to no one and no one could speak to her except to give her orders. Girlie, get your ass over here and wipe this up. You come when I tell you, and you come and you do that now. You have papers? Do you like this? You do, don't you? You like this? I'll teach you a little something. That night I lay in her outline on my sheets. She was hot as sunburn in the cotton. I sank my face into the imprint of hers. Her perfume crept from the pillow, the smell of her memory. I smelled her mother in a kitchen with clay pots and cilantro on her hands. It was there, the hibiscus tea, a river, a handful of shampoo falling to a drain like melting snow drifts. First grade, the Mexican anthem, the snap of the flag, chalk dust sneezes, the smell of library paste, village church, incense, the crack of unopened Bibles, freeing their musk, laundry day, the boiling, tamale day, and the aunts with their crow-voiced laughter, the meat, the masa, the raisins, the cinnamon, morning glory vines, all tangled through cheap Tijuana perfume. Just an illegal drudge in crepuscular rain. If you see her, protect her, revere her, my unknown sister. Light candles in her honor, you travelers. She is the mother of my race.
Oh, wow. Like, clapping almost feels inappropriate. It's just so, but like,
A lot of feels on that one.
I don't know, huh?
Mm-hmm.
French fries? Is that what she said?
Asparagus.
Oh, asparagus. I thought she said something about fry, and I was like, huh? Asparagus makes a lot more sense knowing you two.
She said, what does the poem say?
Yes, it's got a poem here.
Oh.
What is actually the theme of this poetry time?
It's literally just poetry association time. So if there's a poem you want to read, go for it. If it links to the last one, even better. But it was last minute plan, and I thought it would be more just like easier and fun to just read what we felt like reading as it happened.
That one was heavy. We could use something light read by an adorable little one.
Do you have a poem for us?
Do you want to read a poem?
Yeah, Dada could read it with you. Yeah. Dada knows the places to stop. All right, are you gonna read some of it? Araha wants to read you one of her birthday cards.
Mm-hmm.
Birthdays are magic when you're 2 years old. She's probably too shy to read any of the words. Sprinkled all around with fairy dust, glittering like gold. So enjoy the magic of your special day, because being 2 years old is very special, by the way. Who's it from, Araha? Yeah, who's that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's that one says lyric.
Yeah, that is lyric.
Yeah.
And who else is the card from?
Alex.
Yeah, and Alex. Lyric and Alex, that's right.
I'll have to tell him.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad it got there. Suddenly I realized I'd procrastinated and quickly was like, I'm gonna put a poem into a card online and try to make sure it gets there in time.
Did we never tell you it had arrived? I'm sorry.
Oh no, that's okay. I wasn't sure if it had or not, but also Alex checked online and it said that it had, so I figured, but
Totally
I
did.
realized the week before that it was gonna be her birthday and that I hadn't sent a card, so I couldn't send one from Canada this time.
Oh, we got birthday cards arriving over the course of like 2 months. It was great. Like,
That
it's
is
better than them
fantastic.
coming all at once.
Oh, it's lovely. I love spreading out the birthday.
Yeah, so she was reading that earlier today with Michael. But with
And she
this,
knows the poem.
she does know it.
She knows all her birthday cards by heart.
Yeah.
Aww.
The
They can't see actually. Yeah, it's got animals on it. Probably still got
Mhm.
a turtle and a giraffe and an elephant. Shall we see whether that inspires anyone with an idea of a poem to read?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think? Does anyone have any poems?
Birthdays.
This poem.
That poem. Yeah.
What else did I have?
This poem.
Yeah, it says love, lyric, and Alex.
What does that one say?
Lyric.
What does that say?
Lyric.
Okay, I have one about gaining experience
that?
with time. That kind of ties to birthdays, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Also, the cover of this collection is really pretty, so I'm just going to show it off every time I read from it because it's shiny.
So
Shiny.
very shiny.
This is by Constance P. Cavafy? Cavafy? And it's from like sometime between 1863 and 1933. So it's a nice old one. I feel like I mostly read like modern contemporary stuff. Ithaca. As you set out for Ithaca, hope your road is a long one, full of adventure, full of discovery. Lastrygonians, Cyclops, angry Poseidon. Don't be afraid of them. You'll never find things like that on your way, as long as you keep your thoughts raised high, as long as a rare excitement stirs your spirit and your body. Lastrygonian, Cyclops, wild Poseidon, you won't encounter them unless you bring them along inside your soul, unless your soul sets them up in front of you. Hope your road is a long one. May there be many summer mornings when, with what pleasure, what joy, you enter harbors you're seeing for the first time. May you stop at a Phoenician trading stations to buy fine things, mother of pearl and coral, amber and ebony, sensual perfume of every kind, as many sensual perfumes as you can. And may you visit many Egyptian cities to learn and go on learning from their scholars. Keep Ithaca always in your mind. Arriving there is what you're destined for. But don't hurry the journey at all. Better if it lasts for years, so you're old by the time you reach the island, wealthy with all you've gained on the way, not expecting Ithaca to make you rich. Ithaca gave you the marvelous journey. Without her, you wouldn't have set out. She has nothing left to give you now. And if you find her poor, Ithaca won't have fooled you. Wise as you will have become, so full of experience, you'll have understood by then what these Ithacas mean.
This is the one on the theme of Greek mythology.
It's machine.
Go for it.
Icarus. Icarus isn't sorry. We do not find him doing penance, writing out the golden mean for all eternity, or touring its high schools to tell student bodies not to do what he has done. Done over and over, he rehearses flight and fall, tuning his moves, entering with fresh rush into the mingling of air with spirit. This is his practice and his prayer, to be translated into air, as air within each breath enters lungs and blood. He feels resistance gather in his stiff, strange wings, angles his arms to shuck the sweet lift from the drag, runs the full length of the nameless corridor, his feet striking the paving stones less and less heavily, and then they're bicycling above the ground. A few shallow beats, and he's up. He's out of the story and into the song.
It's so good. I need to go track down my water bottle. I'll be right back. I love that. If anybody else has something to read, go for it.
Mm-hmm.
I think I have something to go if I can find it. But if anyone else comes up with anything in the meantime, please go on and read, because I don't know where this thing is. Okay, I have one that's somewhat related to mythology,
Go for it.
but not really. I feel like Lyric should be here if I read that one. That is sort of.
I'm
related
here.
to
I just don't have
mythology.
my video
All
on
right.
while I'm wandering around. So feel free to keep reading. Don't worry about waiting
All
on
right.
me. It's like, it must be blending into something, I swear.
It happens. Okay. So mythology reminded me of a certain poem by Edwin Morgan. The Mummy. The mummy of Ramses II was met at Orly Airport by Madame Sonia Seite. News item, September 1976. And this is how the meeting goes.
Awesome.
May I welcome your majesty to Paris? I hope the flight from Cairo was reasonable. We have a jump-proof room at the Museum of Man, where we trust your majesty will have peace and quiet. I am sorry, but this is necessary. Your majesty's person harbors a fungus. Well, it is something attacking your cells. Your majesty is gently deteriorating after nearly 4,000 years, become in masterly embalmment. We wish to save you from the worm. Indeed, I know it must be distressing to a pharaoh and a son of Ra, to the excavator of Abu Simbel, that glorious temple in the rock, to the perfecter of Karnak Hall, to the hammer of the Hittites, to the colossus whose colossus raised in red granite at holy Thebes, 16 men high, astounds the desert shattered, as your majesty in life shattered the kingdom and oppressed the poor with such lavish grandeur and panache. To Ramses, to Ozymandias, to the Louis XIV of the Nile, how bitter it must be to feel a microbe eat your comfort bands. But we are here to help your majesty. We shall encourage you to unwind. You have many useful years ahead. Yes, well, Shelley is dead now. He was not embalmed. He will not write about your majesty again. The Hall of Fame has many mansions. Your majesty may rest assured your deeds will always be remembered. You woman, beautiful woman, no woman for 1,000 years. Your Majesty, what are you doing? Mm, mm, mm-hmm. Mm, mm, mm. Your Majesty, you'll break your stitches. Stitches, worm. I really hate to have to use the hypodermic on a mummy, but We cannot have you strain yourself. Remember your fungus, your majesty. That's right.
I love that so much.
Totally works on the mythology theme.
Oh.
That's awesome. Michael, do you have any poems to go next? No? Well, we are kind of getting to that time. If anyone has anything they're super keen to read, I have one I might do as an after chat poem that I'm working on, and I'm not totally ready to have on recording, and also heavy content, so it doesn't totally go well after the mummy. But I feel like the mummy's not a bad note to end on, unless anyone else has something they're super keen about. I'm gonna double check the book I was reading this morning.
Yeah, that's good. It's a good light note.
Yeah, all the other ones I marked were, trademark me, kind of heavy. I think we might wrap up the official poetry time there then, unless Tara, did you have any poems that you wanted to read, Michael? Aroha, have any more?
This one.
They already had that one. Do you want to look through your birthday card box and see if there's another one you want to read?
Another one.
No, that's a letter. That's not a poem.
I didn't.
I was looking. Oh, we could read this one, the top one.
Here's the top one.
Yeah, okay. Shall I read it to them?
Yeah.
Okay. This is a nice short one. It doesn't follow on or anything. Life, life, jazz, 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 life, life, blues, blues, blues. It was one of the birthday card poems.
I like that. Yeah, I feel that. And on that,
This one too.
Between life,
Oh,
jazz,
yeah.
and blues. Unless you've got a few
It
more.
does.
you have a life
No.
jazz one,
That's-
Andy?
Sort of vaguely related because it's written by Maya Angelou. And it's about life, sort of. When I think about myself. When I think about myself, I almost laugh myself to death. My life has been one great big joke. A dance that's walked, a song that's spoke. I laugh so hard I almost choke when I think about myself. 60 years in these folks' world, the child I works for calls me girl. I say yes ma'am for working's sake. Too proud to bend, too poor to break. I laugh until my stomach ache when I think about myself. My folks can make me split my side. I laughed so hard I nearly died. The tales they tell sound just like lying. They grow the fruits, but eat the rind. I laugh until I start to crying when I think about my folks. That was it. I like the upside downiness of it, and it had song and life in it.
I do have another one that about a song or a mentioned song, and life, but also no. I'll save it for another time, or I'll just keep reading forever because there's always it mentions this and this, and it kind of ties. So, bang, bang, bang. The poetry time gavel for official poetry time has been banged. Is that what you do with the gavel? You just bang it, you thunk it, you bonk
think
it.
so.
Yeah. All right.
Yep.
Catch up crew. I hope you enjoyed our random selection of poems, and we'll see you next week, whatever day we end up doing poetry time on. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.